I disagree with you that the Crusaders are the form team.
We'll
I think they
that.
have shown elements of what they are capable of. The Blues will have gained, as disappointed as they were to lose that game to the Chiefs. There was more of what they did really well last year. If you want an absolute like-for-like replacement for Samuel Jordan-Caine, you go with Sean Withy out of the Highlanders.
DSPN, the Devlin Sports Podcast Network.
Super Rugby Round 6, and what a pleasure this is. Old mates, we worked at Radio Sport for a hell of a long time. I love the way he calls his rugby. He loves rugby. It's as simple as that. And Nigel Yalden is back with us again as we preview this upcoming round and also look at the World Rugby Rankings. Welcome back, my man.
Hello, my man. Always good to be with you.
Let's start with tomorrow night's game, obviously, MP against the Chiefs. Lachlan's in my ear telling me that he thinks MP have got a hell of a chance here. It's a real bummer it's not being played in Tonga, and we understand, why that is. Pukekohe gets it. I would have loved that game to be played in Tonga. I'm still a big fan if they could possibly get it organised of either the Bull round or somehow getting as many teams up there as possible, tourist packages and things going for this. But park all of that for a second. Just in terms of actually who's going to win this game. No Adi Savia, obviously, for MP. That's a huge blow. Whether he is going to play or not because of All Black rest, I don't know. But obviously the hamstring.
Yeah, I think Moana are going to be feeling very bullish after what they did prior to the bye, getting that win over the Hurricanes. This Chiefs team, I think showed a different side of themselves against the Blues. That Blues performance was more like the Blues of last year. Dominate possession, dominate territory, grind, and, came within, an upright of stealing what would have been a massive win for them. But there is good depth with regards to this Chiefs team. Yep, you lose a guy like an Anton Leonard-Brown, that is quite significant. Simon Parker's been playing very well for them, big, mobile and robust, and yet you can still put out a loose forward combination, with Jacobson and Boshier and Finau. That's as good as you would want to put out in a Super Rugby contest. So, look, I think the fact that it is going to be in Pukekohe, that's inside the Chiefs' catchment. So they will be looking at that going, hey, look, this is neutral territory at least. I still lean towards the Chiefs, but I do like what Fa'alongatana Umanga is doing with this particular group, with the addition of Adi Savia and other senior guys. I think the addition of Garden Bishop, I think, has been absolutely massive for them, and the combo that they play with William Havili as well. So just lots of little things really building, but I think it should be a great game. All of the Moana games have been competitive. I still got to lean towards the Chiefs at the moment, just that little bit of extra class. Yeah,
look, and they are top of the table for a reason. They won 4 out of 5 games for a reason. And, arguably, I'm going to argue about this because I think the Crusaders are actually the form team at the moment. But, on paper, you'd actually think the Chiefs have to. And nice history there, because for those who don't know, when they first did the Chiefs, they actually had North Harbour on board as well, because Auckland and North Harbour hated each other so much that they actually had, so they kind of did. They had Counties Monaco as well in there, didn't they?
They did indeed. I tell you what, you want to talk about that North Harbour Waikato thing? Get Pod Turner. Get Pod Turner to come in. He can tell you a yarn or two with regards to that. Cool. Carbo Jones could do that as well. But, as part of the setup, precisely. This is going to be interesting just in terms of that little geographical thing. I disagree with you that the Crusaders are the form team. I think they have shown elements of what they are capable of, but I think their real test comes about, I'm assuming we're going to talk about this game
right now.
The Blues at Eden Park. I think this is a more genuine test of exactly where the Crusaders are at. Yep, they've won all their games at home. You've got to do that if you want to get anywhere in Super Rugby Pacific. You've got to do that in any sporting competition. But I think this is going to give us a little bit more of a reflection because they were very good week 1 against the Hurricanes. They got slapped up in the final 20 minutes by the Chiefs. I don't think the Reds game should have been played. I think those Reds players should have been at home with their families during Cyclone Alfred, and there's going to be nothing that's going to convince me otherwise. I think they got a bit fortunate there, did the Crusaders, because there is no doubt their minds would have been on somewhere else. And that Force team, they're always going to be entertaining games, but they can't defend. And so the Crusaders, while they have shown that they are more like the Crusaders we know, We know that they are dangerous, particularly with the trio of Havili, Jordan, and Reese. When they are prominent on the back of that pack, they are dangerous. I think we just get a more reflective indication of where the Crusaders are at against the defending champs away from home.
Okay, see, this is where your analytics to me are like you're under the bonnet and you're actually figuring out whether the spark plugs are actually working and what's going on there. I shut the bonnet and just listen to the sound and think, okay, and I've got this feeling of that the more confidence you give that Crusaders side, the better they're going to be because of what happened last year. Because it's not a monkey. They got 5 gorillas sitting there and they're seething about what the rest of the country put them through last year because everyone heaped on them and everyone heaped on them. Everyone loved heaping on them. And now the door has been prized open a bit. And I think that's the worst thing you could do for that team. It doesn't matter who's wearing those jerseys to me. It's just giving them that mindset again that all of a sudden people fear them. And that's what
But it is who's wearing the jerseys because last year they were so injury depleted.
Yeah, and no one talked about that, Nigel.
People did not know because want to because everyone had been waiting for the opportunity to pile on. It is absolutely accurate that the Crusaders were beset by injuries last year. They have got healthy bodies, and those healthy bodies are so key. Havili, Jordan in particular, the way they are operating.
I love the way they're using him. They're using him in a different way.
The depth in the forwards again. Yeah, so I think, whilst people wanted that opportunity to get stuck into the Crusaders, the fact remains is that they have got fresh bodies, fit bodies, and this is what they are capable of.
Okay, and the Blues, and look, I've talked about this already, that, Dalton Papali'i, I thought that was really interesting what came out of that presser with him, saying, it was just micro moments in games and things, and also that he feels, and I'm sure this is the confidence of the Blues side and squad, that if they can make that top 6, that they can beat anyone. And that's what the Crusaders always had in the background last year. Are they going to make the top 6? And remember, a lot of us were feeling that, didn't we? Like, what say they do? How good can they be? The Crusaders have got a chance not to slam the door shut, but as you said, make a hell of a statement. And I think that motivation with the confidence, to me, gives them the edge going to Eden Park, plus, obviously, the injuries that the Blues have got. I love Peter Feta coming back. I think that's excellent. I can't wait to see him play. He's had such a terrible run with injuries. They do get Hoskins back, and he's got a point to prove as well. But I don't know. I give the Crusaders the edge up here is what I do, because I just think that I feel they've got more to play for, which sounds silly given where the Blues are at.
Yeah, the Blues have got way more to play for because you're right. Because the table is so condensed, it doesn't dig them a massive hole. But the Blues do have a pretty tough schedule coming up with some pretty gnarly sort of road trips. So what did we just say before about the Crusaders? They're defending their home turf. Blues have got to go back and start defending Eden Park and getting those wins.
Well, they're 0-2, aren't they?
So
yeah,
and that's the big thing. They dropped to the Chiefs. They dropped to the Brumbies. But I repeat, I think that the Blues will have gained, as disappointed as they were to lose that game to the Chiefs. There was more of what they did really well last year. You go back and you look at what they did. Territory, possession. Yeah. They were averaging well over 50% on average throughout 2024. Last week was the first time they've been able to consistently have territory and possession and start to look like that they are implementing the game plan that they want to. Now, we know that they want to go a little bit more expansive, but look, they got all the lollies last year because they were so direct, so accurate, so efficient, totally, and they made the opposition defend. And so I think they will gain a lot of confidence out of that. Some key players starting to show a little bit of spark again. So, yeah, I agree. The Crusaders will have confidence from their performances, but I think the Blues will think, hey, we were so close last week. We're back in our house. Let's go out. Let's do that again. And that gives us a good shot to really get our defence back and rolling.
Game. So looking forward to it. But the game before that is well worth watching as well. Okay, we jumped one here. Highlanders Reds, Saturday, 4:35. Highlanders will be smarting. It wasn't the greatest game, but it was a compelling game and it had a fantastic finish and it had some brilliant moments in it. Now they play a Red side who came back after the Crusaders and dealt with New South Wales and dealt with them, and I thought made a statement there. We got 4 weeks to wait before the Reds and the Brumbies play each other. That's the top dog in Australia. But right now, I think the Reds can probably confidently say, hey, we're playing better than anyone else. But they go to a Highlanders side that this is not going to be an easy road trip for the Reds at all. And if the Highlanders want to make the top 6, they have to win games like this. So I think this is as fascinating an encounter as we're going to get during the weekend as well.
Yeah, well, this is the great thing. This is what's been so nice about Super Rugby 2025 is all the games have had a little bit something.
Yeah,
They've had
yeah.
some really great
some
storylines,
jeopardy
and
on
they
it,
have delivered. It's the reason why there's a lot of really good publicity around the competition at the moment, and so there should be. That red side is really, really good. And
no Fraser, though, I think, Nigel, which is going to make quite a difference if he doesn't play.
Who was that, sorry?
No Fraser, if he doesn't play.
Yeah, well, I think he's arguably one of, if not the most talented rugby player in the entire competition.
Yeah.
I think Fraser McRae is
He could play for the All Blacks, I think.
Influential.
He could,
He's a
I agree.
beautiful rugby player to watch play. Now, the interesting thing for me, you spoke about the Crusaders. I thought that Waratahs going up to the Reds, that was going to give us an indication as to where the Waratahs were, obviously leading into that only unbeaten team of the competition. I think they got a nice little reminder of how good that Reds team is. They were super efficient. They're so direct. They can get you on all aspects. They're well coached. Their defence is excellent, as you'd expect from Les Kiss, who's very much was a bit of a defensive specialist. I think defensive coach for Ireland for many a year, got the league background, but defensively always very, very good sides. This is going to be, as you say, a real test for the Highlanders, but these are the sort of games where the Jamie Joseph influence for me really comes to the fore. This is the point where I think his extra level of experience up at international, I think this is where the psyche, these are the key things. It's these little moments that we have got to win. And if we are able to do that, remember, I think last year the Highlanders actually upset the Reds. So there's a little bit of revenge factor there for the Reds as well. I still lean towards Queensland, and that's no disrespect to the Highlanders, who I really like. And as I said, you can see the Joseph influence. Tavatavanawai moving out to the wing, though. I'd be very tempted to try and keep him at 12 because
he's got to be involved, Nigel. That's the thing. As soon as I read that, I just thought, man, he's got to be involved because he's not just a second five. It's his influence and just his presence now. When he goes in where that ball is, you know, the opposition have to put extra bodies in there. That's just what you do because he's otherwise going to rip it off you. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting move from I wonder whether he will stay out there.
You'll stay involved though, Mark.
Yeah, okay. All right.
You'll stay involved. I suspect, don't be surprised if you see line-out plays where they go to the back of the line-out, they look to shift it out to Robinson at first, and you've got a hard ball for Tavatavanawai coming in off the wing.
Okay.
So look for that, trying to get him into those channels where he's been operating as a 12. I think Jamie will probably give him a bit of a roving commissioner because what we have seen is he's such a smart player.
Yeah.
He'd be able to get into the position. They've got good rotation throughout the back three to be able to go out and cover.
Yep.
So I think shift around on the fly. So I expect him to go roving a little bit, still be in those areas where he has been effective and so influential.
And then Saturday night to wrap it all up, and also you've got to balance this with the NRL that's going on. We've got the New South Wales Waratahs playing the Brumbies. And again, both teams are coming off losses and both are going to sit there and be smarting about that. But again, who is going to be the best team in Australia? As I said, you know, Reds don't play the Brumbies for a couple of weeks, 3 or 4 weeks. But this game, again, New South Wales they're at home. They've won 3 out of 3 at home. But the Brumbies, again, I mean, it's a hard one to pick, isn't it? No, sorry, Brumbies actually did beat the Drua last weekend, my bad.
Yeah.
But this game, again, I find hard to pick.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Brumbies are the better side, but there's so many glorious storylines with regards to this. Dan McKellar, former Brumbies coach, going up against the man who was his assistant and Stephen Larkham. The two guys who, in my opinion, Martin Devlin should be the coach of the Wallabies. It should be McKellar as head coach,
Stephen Larkham.
with Larkham as an assistant, with Lord Laurie Fisher. Get the Brumbies firm back together, Wallabies, if you want to go forward and be successful. That's just my own personal opinion. There are so many great storylines, but I think the Waratahs would have learned a lot from that slap they got last week north of the border.
Yep.
The Brumbies, though, came back after that victory at Eden Park, and I thought they were so beautifully efficient once again at home against the Drua and really didn't give the Fijians any opportunity to get into their game. And I think that game, that victory over the Blues away from home, I think that is just the little flick of the switch that particular side needed. And so now they're going to go up to New South Wales. Not that they had any fear to begin with, but that extra confidence again, that when they execute, they are going to be tough to roll. Waratahs would have learnt some harsh lessons. They're still very good. They're the best team in terms of getting the ball back. So, like, if they concede a turnover, they will get it back almost at a ratio. It's less than 2-1, the ratio.
Wow,
so
good
they'll
stat.
get the ball over twice,
Yep.
but they will get it back.
Good stat.
And that's really good. A ratio of less than 2-1 is outstanding. So I think the breakdown is going to be massive. That's a key element. Like Brima and Gamble, who are so good over the ball, the two open side flankers. So I think this is going to be a great one, but I can see the first 20 minutes being absolutely hellacious up front.
And then finally, and we get a Sunday night game, 7:05, and these two teams, and this is what I love about this competition, you were talking about it earlier, just the jeopardy of it, so much riding on almost every game, and the Force played the Drua. The Drua can't afford to lose another one. The Force, coming off obviously getting slapped by the Crusaders there, they're at home. And both these sides, to me, have got absolutely everything to prove and so much to gain by winning and so much to lose by losing this game. Obviously, my heart's with the Drua always. I want to see this team in the top six. I just think it's important that they are, and important that, even more important if they got a home final game would just be brilliant, isn't it? But, sentiment aside, the Force at home would have to be favourites as much as I do wish that the Drua would win this game.
Okay, in order for the Drua to get themselves a home semi-final, what do they have to do, Martin?
They got to finish in the top.
Learn to win away from home.
Yeah.
Because that is the biggest Achilles heel
Yeah.
at the moment
Last
with
year
the
as well,
Drua.
yeah.
Now, we've seen them go close, but they have not, this season, they have not got over that particular hump. Should have beaten the Hurricanes. Should have beaten the Waratahs.
Yep.
So this represents clearly their best opportunity to try and really snap this hoodoo, but they can't just do it once. They've got to do it twice. They've got to do it 3 times.
Yeah.
If you want to earn that home playoff game, you are going to need more than just win your home games and some bonus points.
Some bonus points.
You've got to get road victories.
Yeah, Glenn
So
Jackson was on the program last week, told us exactly that, and he said, and he also, Nigel, as gracious as he is, didn't complain about the schedule either. He said, hey, this is what we've got. We know what's in front of us. Travelling to New South Wales travelling to the Brumbies and then going across to Canberra. 2 huge road trips, and also not many teams face that. But he is just like, this is what it is, and we have to win one of these games. Simple as that.
Yeah. And this represents the best one, and I'm going to pick the Drua.
Hey,
I'm going to back them in. Force, I think, have been great to start off with, but what have they shown? They have shown that they can score points and they can concede points. You're going to get a great surface over there. I think as an opposition, the Drua will look at this team and go, you know what? I think our scrum is very good. Line-out's being better in terms of its efficiency. The scrum, oddly enough, not as efficient as what it was last year, but still very good, very solid. They'll look at this and go, you know what? We can actually take this team. Go over, execute, use all the wonderful talent. I love how they play with structure, but again, when that opportunity is presented to go ad lib, none better in the competition than those athletes to be able to take advantage of it. So I'm actually backing the Drua in to win this one and actually win it quite well.
2 topics to finish with. I want to just ask your thoughts on 6, 7 and 8 for the All Blacks, 12 and 13 for the All Blacks, 9 and 10 for the All Blacks, just on what we've seen so far.
So you want to ask me about the entire All Blacks team?
Pretty much. But it's also just, these are just questions and speculative, things, arguments and debates that we can have. First and foremost, so the World Rugby rankings that came out on Monday. I started the show by going through this, and essentially I agree with most of it, apart from Ireland at 3, who should be at 4. You can't have Ireland ahead of France at the moment after what France did to them in the Six Nations. We agree on that?
That's just the way the rankings work.
Yeah.
You've got to remember it's historical. And Ireland did go on a really, really good run there for a while where France have occasionally sort of been a bit hit and miss on the odd occasion here and there, but I mean, France has played very, very well, and it is historical, and there is a numerical system that I trust implicitly.
Okay, well, also, us at 2 or France at 3? If I'm doing the rankings, I've got South Africa at 1, and I'm debating as to All Blacks and France, I think whichever hemisphere you're in, you're probably putting your team into that second spot. Would France here just, given the fact they beat us last year, or the fact that, I don't know, we were so damn close, 30-29. We get to play them again 3 times, and also France lost to England.
Margins come into play with regards to how the ranking system works and how everything gets adjusted and points get taken off and points get added to it. I think when you look at the actual numbers alongside it, there's not a lot between the top teams, with the exception of South Africa. I think might have a point on New Zealand. Everyone else is pretty tight.
Okay.
It's reflective of the fact that at the moment, international rugby is really competitive.
Yeah, it
I
is.
really enjoyed the Six
I did
Nations.
too. Yeah, totally.
A lot more than the Welsh did, I can tell you that for
Poor
free.
buggers, yeah.
But
I feel bad
overall,
about
I think
that,
it's
though.
a really even, at the top of World Rugby, I think it's pretty even. And I think there are teams that are going to continue to develop and continue to challenge.
I applaud Cockrell and the fact that he thinks Georgia should have a playoff. There is no way that Welsh turkey is going to vote itself off the Christmas list, is it? Because if you do have a playoff and you do miss out, just the financial slap and backlash that it would just cause irreparable damage. I know that Georgia probably deserve that chance. On merit, they do deserve that chance. But, no Six Nations side is going to vote for that, are they? Why would you?
No, and it would go very close to killing rugby in Wales.
Yeah, at the moment,
that would ever happen.
Yeah. And look,
it's
no one
just-
wants to see that team lose 17 in a row. I don't care who you support. I mean, maybe if you're a diehard other Celt from one of the other countries up there. But no, I just, it just seems a bit cruel piling on them at the moment.
There's too much history there.
Same, I agree.
I agree. Georgia probably does have that
They got a
particular
claim.
opportunity
They should
as
have.
well.
Yeah,
They should be given that because they are another team that continues to develop, continues to go really, really well. But like you, I would be stunned if what you were suggesting would happen.
No. Let us finish 6, 7, and 8 right now on form.
Okay.
Who have you got? If you're picking your
On
backs.
form?
On form.
So Artie's 8.
Yes.
That goes without saying.
Yes.
7 is a great discussion.
Isn't it?
Because I was super impressed with Dalton Papali'i, and you go, well, he's a guy who's probably, you could class him as an incumbent. I guess never got the opportunity on the interview tour because of injury. The two guys who are really playing exceedingly well for me in Super Rugby, Duplessis Karefi.
Yes. Everyone's
I think
got
is
him.
brilliant.
Yeah, his name on the
If
list.
you want an absolute like-for-like replacement for Samuel Jordan Kane, you go with Sean Withy out of the Highlanders. And Withy is a name I'm not hearing mentioned a whole lot, but work rate, defence, carrying. He is just a guy who continues to just absolutely churn through the work.
Okay. See, I'd put Ethan there.
I think he would be a wonderful foil alongside Artie and whoever you want to play in that particular 6th position. But he's a name I think probably deserves. I think there's really good options because Jacobson, even though obviously he had a couple of weeks off after his nose got rearranged, he's playing very good rugby as well.
And if Ethan
they've got
stays
plenty
fit,
of options. Blackadder was good before he had the injury. There's lots of options there.
Okay. 9 and 10. I'm looking at Roygard and Godfrey to be my 9 and 10 for the All Blacks in the future, in maybe 3 or 4 years, even at 2027, I don't know. But right now, 9 is Cam. There's no question about that. At 10, before he got injured himself, Beauden Barrett, I thought, was playing probably the best out of everyone. And I would be, if I was Razor, against South Africa, I'm looking here especially, right? Not maybe the Free, I'm looking at South Africa. But it is going to be either Beauden or McKenzie, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Well, what are your other options?
Well, the other options are young guys.
We have some great young talent coming through. We've got Jacob, who I think has been very good, particularly when he's been working in tandem with Damien in the first 4 weeks. I think they worked very well together. You look at a guy like Kemada, who I think his general play is very, very good, but his goal kicking just isn't up to
and Godfrey's
scratch
been
enough.
a bit, with his sideline kicks, has been a bit skew at times. But again, I'm liking even Tane Robinson as well. I like actually the future that we've got. I actually, it is actually warming my heart to think that we have these young names there. Maybe one might get a chance against France, maybe not, I don't know. But I mean, even for the end of year 2, you're looking at, okay, there's some options to take these guys, at least put them in that All Black camp for that time.
Yeah, precisely. And so there's always going to be those opportunities there. Peter Fetter's not chopped liver. We haven't seen him. You mentioned him earlier when we were talking.
So good to see him back, mate. So good
He's
to see him back.
He's still a guy that's got first 5 potential at the All Black level too. So, yeah, look, again, it is nice because we can actually sit here and go, okay, this guy's performing, this guy's performing, this guy's performing. We've seen Jacob go very well for the New Zealand 15 on the end of year tour last year. So it's nice to have a few more options other than just going Damien McKenzie and Beauden Barrett. Yeah. The other guy too, with the way the Crusaders are playing, Marty, I know we saw it briefly last year. We didn't get much of a look at it, but David Harberley is doing a lot of playmaking for that Crusaders. And I know that Scott Robinson has mentioned that they see him as someone who could possibly be a 10 at that particular level. So there's just another one who, if you've got him in your squad, who is an option you could lean on.
Agree with me, the Crusaders are going to win that match, mate.
No.
Yes.
Going to.
Yes.
Not.
We'll talk about this next week. Remember,
Okay,
I'm listening to the car.
I'm not agreeing
listening
with
to the
you.
car.
How often do I agree with you on anything?
You're tuning the engine. I'm listening to the car, and I'm going, that exhaust sounding good. That exhaust is sounding good.
Yeah, you're going, it's sounding good. Okay, that's really great. I'm telling you exactly what the make of the car actually is, as opposed to you just going, that sounds awesome.
Sounds great. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. Yeah. Always good to catch up with you, man.
All right, brother. Anytime.
DSPN.